Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much for sticking with us for our crypto and Web3 compliance symposium today. We're getting towards the end of the day, and we always save the best for last. So, super excited for these last two sessions. They're going to be really heavy hitters, and I just hope that you've picked up all the tips and tricks and tactics and searching the blockchain and things that you can take back to your desk. And I hope in these last two sessions, you can really see why you're doing this and who you're doing it for. So without further ado, we're going to jump into troubleshooting here. If at first you don't succeed, go ahead and refresh your browser, guys. Close out of other tabs. If you have a million open, please close out of those. If it's still not loading for you, close out, rejoin. Chrome or Firefox, and sometimes an incognito browser can work. If you need closed captioning, please hover over the media player and select the CC in the bottom. And if you continue to have difficulties, contact our event support at acfcs.org. Email. Our events team is amazing, and they are more than happy to help you out. Certificate of completion is available at 48 minutes into the session, 80% of the session. It's available in the bottom right-hand corner, or if you go to your event agenda, load previous session in the top right, you'll be able to access that for previous sessions. It'll also be emailed to you about 3 hours after the session, so keep an eye out for that email. The recording and slides will also be available about 3 hours after the session. We do have a post-webinar survey in the console. Please complete that. We read those, we share it with our speakers. We love to hear from you. You help make our events better. So please give us some feedback. We read all of them. And last but not least, if you do have any questions, please throw those in the Q&A box. The Q&A is going to be dedicated for questions, so we will be screening those. If you put it in the chat, we might not catch it during the presentation. So all questions that you need and really want an answer to, please throw those also in the Q&A. And at that, I'm going to leave it. We've been through a bunch of the slides throughout the whole day, so I'm going to pass it over to our fantastic speaker today, Erin West.
Well, hello, you guys. I'm so glad to be here with you. I did not realize this was called Rise of the Robots until I showed up just now, and that seems an appropriate title with the appropriate amount of scare tactics, because that's what I'm about to do over the next hour. I'm about to raise the temperature and show you exactly why I have trouble sleeping at night, knowing what I know about scams. We are 100% in a full-on scamdemic, and I'm going to walk you through what I know about it, what I've seen about it, and then ideally I'm going to leave you with some hope at the end. So let's get to it. Do we have our quiz? Do we have poll questions?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm so sorry. I forgot to put in the poll questions. Do we want to do some verbal poll questions so we can engage in the chat?
Sure, engage in the chat. What I want to know as we get started, I'm just taking your temperature. Do you know what a pig butchering scam is? How many of you know what a pig butchering scam is? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, okay.
If you guys want to throw in the chat. Yeah, who knows what a pig butchering scam is?
I'm not going to call on you. Yeah, I'm not going to call on you. I just want to know if you do.
Yes.
So good. So, and sounds like a lot of you do. Give me a no. If you don't know what a pig butchering scam is, don't be embarrassed. Give me a no if you don't. But what this is telling me is that I've been doing my job. And I have been, oh my gosh, Viola knows exactly that it's a romance turned into investment scam. 100%, that's what this is. So, let's talk it through. I've been knee deep in this for 3 years now, and every time I present on this, I feel like there are more and more people who know what a pig butchering scam is. So, fantastic, good news. I'm doing my work. But if you don't know what pig butchering is, I'm going to walk you through it. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it since a lot of you know, but what I am going to tell you about is how things have changed and what's different this year from last year. So, like Viola said, this is a romance scam turned investment scam. Usually starts off with something like this. The idea here is that the scammer is just trying to get your attention, and they are going to drop something like this onto in a text message, and you're going to get it. That's one way they're going to come at you. They might also come at you on LinkedIn, and they're doing really clever stuff now, like reaching out and saying, I see that you live in Bellevue, Washington. I have a job opportunity there. Can you tell me if how bad is the rain? Or what do you know about daycare? Or some nonsense that just, we are helpful people. We like to be helpful. We like to share information. And so, especially when a pretty face is asking us. And so that's what's happening here. They will reach out in a way like this. And if you do respond, the next slide you are going to get is something that looks a little bit like this. And this person will say, hi, I'm Jessica. I hope I'm not disturbing you. And 100% of the time, they're going to hope they're not disturbing you. That is part of the deal. And when I say that is part of the deal, it's because there is a deal. They've been doing this for 5 years now. They have become experts at their craft. They have absolutely honed their techniques. They know exactly what they're doing, and they've had little to no disruption over 5 years of doing this. So they've only gotten better at what they're doing. Now, I say Jessica, and I'm going to refer to her throughout this presentation as Jessica, but what I will say is it could just as easily be Ethan, and that this type of scam is coming for men and women. It's coming for 25-year-olds and 85-year-olds and everybody in between. We are misled by media sometimes to make us believe that this is something just affecting the elder population. I will show you some statistics in a minute that dispel that. But what I do know is that it's hitting everybody. And if you think that this wouldn't happen to you, they just have not hit you on the right day yet. Because I'm here to tell you, I've definitely clicked on a phishing email. What we need to do is start normalizing the idea that scams are coming at us every day. And the more that we can say, oh, you know what? Did you try and buy hokas from an ad on Facebook like my dad did? Because if you did, you would know that that is a scam too. We need to just start talking about this because this is a fact. It has nothing to do with our level of intelligence. It has a lot to do with how much attention we're paying during the day to what we're doing. And if you are like me, you are routinely trying to do 3 to 5 things at once. And so you might click on an ad for hokas if it seems like a very good value. There's nothing my dad likes better than a good value. So here's my girl, Jessica. And what Jessica is going to do is she's going to want to get you off wherever she found you as quickly as she can. So she will suggest that you move the conversation to mostly WhatsApp, sometimes Signal, sometimes Telegram, something else, but mostly WhatsApp. She wants something encrypted and something where people are not looking directly for her. Now, Jessica has a job over the next 90 days, or sometimes less than that, sometimes more than that. Her job is to build a trust with you that will motivate you to do something that you wouldn't normally do. And ultimately, that is invest in cryptocurrency. And the way she's going to do it is she's going to do it by using tried and true, tested. Wait a minute, I think I have an exhibit for you just now. Hang on. She's going to go off a script. I was just in the Philippines and I was in a scam compound that had the actual scripts left on the tables. This is a script that she's going to go off to talk to you. And she's going to say nonsense like, good afternoon, how are you doing today? How is work today? Remember to eat on time when you are busy at work. Good health is the greatest wealth. This says here, the second day is mainly to share with customers and increase trust. That's her objective on day 2. That's what she's trying to do. So the fact is, they used PhDs in psychology to craft these scripts to get us to develop this trust with this person. And before you think it couldn't happen to you, I'm here to tell you, maybe it wouldn't. But it has happened to someone in your neighborhood. It has happened to someone you know. It has happened to someone you go to church with. 100%, there is someone in your 6 degrees of separation that has engaged in a conversation with Jessica. The other thing Jessica is trying to do during this courting period, this long con, is she is showing you this lifestyle of wealth. She is absolutely going to play golf. She's going to do yoga. And when I was in the Philippines, I had an opportunity to talk to somebody who did this work. And what she told me is, oh yes, my character, Samantha, always took baths too. That was something that we were trained is something that we should be doing. We should take baths and show our legs in the bathtub. It's tried and true, and it works. And what she is selling is a dream. She is selling the dream that you could end up with someone as beautiful and talented and wealthy as she is. She's going to drive a Range Rover. She's going to be traveling to Hawaii. She is going to be doing things that require money. And ultimately, you will wonder about how it is she's able to afford this. And that's when she says, thank you for asking. I invest in cryptocurrency, and I didn't know how, but my uncle does, and my uncle could teach you. And that's when phase 2 of this elaborate scheme begins. Now, what I love to do, I love to talk about a couple of things. Number one, when I talk about this, where we find ourselves in a scamdemic. And as we go through this, I'm going to show you that we are way outnumbered, outgunned, outplayed. We are in a world of hurt. But what we need to do is we need to move the ball forward a little bit every single day. And we need everybody moving that ball. Everybody on this call now is on notice that we've got a terrible situation that nobody's coming to rescue us from. So here's what I say, a little bit every day. I am over 50. I am a woman and I like to travel. So you know I'm going to be in the Facebook Over 50 Women's Travel Club group. Now, I noticed at the beginning of the year that people that looked like Emily from Nashville were joining our group. Now, I know what I look like after a long haul flight, and it's nothing like that. And all of a sudden, all of these beauties were joining our group. And before you say, oh, Erin, you're a hater, that's ridiculous. Well, I took her screenshot and I ran it through a reverse image and found out that she is indeed an influencer from Germany and not remotely Emily from Nashville. So in policing my own corner of the internet, and I encourage you to do the same, I then pointed out to the Over 50 Women's Travel Club that we have been inundated and by scammers. And of course they were like, you're a hater. You know, why do you say this? Well, because this is my business and I do know, and here's what's happening here. So what this woman is doing in your Facebook group, well, it's not obvious what she's doing. She is using that profile to get a bunch of new friends because people like to be friends with beautiful people. And if you don't believe me, go through the Over 50 Women's Travel group and you'll see the people with the most likes are the most beautiful people every single time. So what she's doing is she's making that profile more credible. And then what she'll probably do is become your friend and drop into your DMs that, you know, she'd like to get to know you. And in fact, and then she begins this whole thing and doing it from a friendship perspective and not a romantic perspective. So, but here's the even better piece. So I write about this on LinkedIn. I put her picture on LinkedIn and I get two interesting things back. One, hi, Erin, I am on QVC. I'm a QVC hostess, and that is my co-hostess. That's interesting. Then number two, even better, I get a message from a banker in Nashville who says, thank you so much for posting this picture of Emily from Nashville because I matched with that picture on Bumble and I've been talking to her and into her. So thank you for saving my wallet and my heart from this scammer. So we can do it. There is stuff that we can do. I'm not saying I'm saving the world with talking about Emily from Nashville, but I'm not saving the world either. Like little pieces like this, every inch helps, and every person that moves the ball forward is helping the cause. So there are new scams that are being used. So the way pig butchering works, we're going to talk about the financial part of it in a few minutes. But what we also want to talk about is what other scams are they doing? Because if you had met me in 2022, I would have told you pig butchering is killing us. Pig butchering is ruining the world. But how many of you now are also getting these texts that are like, hey, I've got a special job for you, or hey, you need to pick up your package from UPS, or hey, you've got a toll to pay. And I know that everybody on this call are getting those texts, which again speaks to the skill, dexterity, nimbleness, ability of the enemy to hit every single person in the United States. That should speak to the level of operation that they are working on. But this is another scam you may or may not know about. And what happened here, this is from my phone. I got dropped into a WhatsApp investment group. Now, let me tell you who these are hitting. I spoke with a 25-year-old, and the 25-year-old thought this was really an opportunity to learn about cryptocurrency investments. And he did not understand that this, you can see on here, long time no see, professor. I thought the group was no longer trading. I'm happy to see your message. Is there any advisory released today? That is how this nonsense works, is they purport that there is a professor that is giving trading information, and the professor is always going to have a lovely assistant, Daisy, who looks to be at a rave at this point, Daisy, and she is going to be the trusted, attractive, young female assistant. That's how this works. And what they do is they lead victims to believe this is an actual educational opportunity. And what happens is people are losing all of their money thinking that they are actually learning something. And scams like this are only going to become more and more prevalent as we move into a new presidential administration that is so embracing crypto. And so we need to be on our guard about this. We need to talk to our parents, but we need to talk to our kids. And we need to let everybody know that unfortunately we find ourselves in a time right now where we really cannot trust anything, any electronic communication that is coming to us unsolicited in any form. I want to talk to you a little bit about how this goes. The financial way that this happens is Jessica will have, part of the nature of a pig butchering case is Jessica will have spent a considerable amount of time, not on day 1, not on day 6, not on day 12, but throughout this, peppering it little by little to find out exactly how much money you have. Because the nature of pig butchering is different from any other crime we have ever seen in this realm. Pig butchering doesn't end until they take every last penny from you and get you to take a loan and take more money from you. That's what's happening with pig butchering. So what Jessica has done now is she's found out, okay, you have this amount of money in your checking account, but you also have a 401k with this amount of money, and you have accounts for your children and college accounts with this much money in them. So Jessica will say, I know you're new to cryptocurrency, and so why don't you start off with a small amount of money? And she'll know what that is to you. Let's say it's $5,000. You take your $5,000 out of your Citibank, your Bank of America account, and she will direct you to put it into a cryptocurrency exchange. I don't know the level of knowledge about cryptocurrency on this call, but here's what I will tell you. Do not let the crypto bros lead you to believe that this is too confusing for you to understand. Because if you can understand a pile of poker chips or Delta Sky Miles or a skin that you might buy in a video game, you can 100% understand cryptocurrency. It is a digital accounting of money that can be used to exchange for other things of value. That's all it is. So, and if you haven't heard of USDT or Tether, this is one of the easiest cryptocurrencies to understand. There are a million different cryptocurrencies right now, but USDT or Tether is pegged 1-to-1 with the US dollar. So it's easy to understand. What Jessica will lead you to do is go to Coinbase to open an account in your name at Coinbase, to put your 5,000 US dollars in there and to change it to USDT. And she will walk you through that screenshot by screenshot. So if you are 7 years old or 77 years old, you will understand how to make this happen. So now instead of $5,000, you have 5,000 Tether in your Coinbase account. Nothing has been stolen from you yet. Until Jessica says, okay, my uncle says this is where we should invest. This is the excess coin trade, and I'm going to send you screenshots in how to move your money from Coinbase into this account. This is where your money gets stolen. You think that you are putting your money into this platform, but instead your money you've been given a cryptocurrency account and or wallet, and that wallet belongs to someone else, and it's moving down the blockchain and it's gone. You are seeing a beautiful dashboard that shows that your 5,000 Tether is now 6,800, now 7,500, now 10,000, and you think, wow. And we cannot compete with these hormones that happen when you are in love with a beautiful woman who is independently wealthy, and you are now making yourself wealthy. It becomes very difficult for anybody to tell you differently. And that is the problem with these cases. I am routinely contacted by adult children who say, I think my mom is being scammed and she won't listen to me, because she won't, because she sees an account full of $1 million and someone who's desperately in love with her, and she's not interested in hearing anything from anyone else because psychological techniques are being used against her, the type that are used in cults, where she believes that she cannot trust anyone other than her new love interest. And so it makes it really, really hard for us to do anything once they are under the spell. So if you find yourself in that place, don't beat yourself up, because it's nearly impossible to talk people out once they are in. So when I say $1 million portfolio, I'm not joking, especially where I come from in Santa Clara County. We routinely see losses of $1.5 million, $2 million. But what we also see are losses of $150,000. And the result is the same. It's everything that person had. So we can't frame this in like, oh, we should pay more attention to these big losses. No. On a human level, they're all the same. Every human getting hit by this is getting hit in the same way, and that is, we're going to take everything from you. Before that happens, you see this increase in your value of your portfolio, and you get talked into, oh, okay, well, let's take 100,000 out of my 401k, and you get to hold the line that, like, oh, the taxes, you're going to make so much more than the tax consequence that don't even need to worry about taxes. So people put everything in they have, they see these crazy balances of $1.5 million, and they think they've hit the jackpot, until they try and take money out. And when they try and take money out, they are hit by something that says, you now owe 25% in taxes. And that kind of hits like a smack in the face. But our victims say, okay, well, take it out of my gains. And the bad guys will say, no, it has to be new money. So that's when our victims are walking back into their banks and getting home equity lines, getting second mortgages on their houses, getting payday loans. They're doing anything they can because they think this is going to be a quick turnover. But what they find once they pay their taxes is, oh, congratulations, you've completed your taxes. But now you need to pay another $10,000 fee. And so by the time these victims, I didn't even introduce myself. Hello, I'm Erin West. I am a former prosecutor. I was a prosecutor for 26 and a half years. The last 3 years of my career, I did only pig butchering cases, and I became consumed with the threat that we're under. Realized that there wasn't a lot happening anywhere to do anything about this. And I became concerned for my kids and your kids, and thought, well, what I'm going to do is retire and start a nonprofit fighting transnational organized crime. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. But I want to stop these scams. And so I did. And that's where I've been for the past 5 months. I retired in November. This is my job now. And I couldn't be more in the right place. So by the time they got to me when I was a prosecutor, or by the time they come to me now in my new role as the founder of a nonprofit, they are destroyed. This is a class of victim I have never seen before. And I did sexual assault for 9 years. I think we don't totally appreciate what happens to a person when they lose every cent they have, when they go from being a relatively sophisticated person with money to fund their retirement, to literally having nothing and no heat in their house and having to ask friends for grocery money. That is a smack in the face. And then they realize, oh my God, the person behind this whole thing was my loved one. They were plotting my demise since day one. It is something that is really difficult for people to take. And as a result, they are committing suicide. That is not a uncommon event that I am seeing. Let's talk about where this is coming from. This is coming from Southeast Asia, and it is a long, well planned out strategic initiative brought to us by Chinese organized crime. And when I say Chinese organized crime, I am not joking. I am talking about the triads. I am talking about a well organized, well funded operation to create chaos in the United States and to take all of our money in the process, and to watch us run around with like chickens with head cut off, not understanding or figuring out how to solve this. And someone did ask for a cat to be present at this event. So I've got my four-legged co-host, as my friend Cheyenne says. This is Bill. So Chinese organized crime, not kidding, very bad. This is awful. And the amount of money that is being moved from the United States into the hands of bad actors is ground shaking. We are talking about a generation's worth of wealth from the United States into the hands of bad actors who are doing absolutely nothing good with it. What we do know is that this crime continues to rise every single year. And these statistics that were just released a few weeks ago from the FBI show us that this is up 44% from last year. So tell me another crime that is up 44% that nobody is paying any attention to. When I think about how much money is leaving our country, what I do is I take that first one, investment. That's $6.5 billion US alone, 2024 alone. I added with confidence romance, so 672 million. That gives me over $7 billion reported. Now, our enemy is so clever. They have chosen a crime specifically that nobody knows how to investigate. People are afraid of crypto, don't know what to do with it. It is an absolutely humiliating and embarrassing crime for victims, so they don't want to report it. And all of this plays into their favor, and it certainly is not a coincidence. It is a well-planned operation. Let's say on the conservative side that 1 in 7 people report this crime to the FBI. Let's multiply times 7 then. So 7 billion times 7 is $49 billion, $50 billion last year, United States alone, last year alone. That's a ton of money. It's a ton of money. It is half the GDP of some of the countries where this is happening. And in case you thought that this was only happening to our seniors, let's look at the numbers. I am 54 years old and do not consider myself a senior. So I am going to take the 60 and under and add those up, the number of people that have been victimized, and it is substantially more than who has been victimized 60 plus. There is more money, still not even more money stolen from seniors. We know generally more money stealing from seniors because they've had a lifetime to amass that money. But the fact is, more people under 60 are getting hit with this, and more money is being lost under 60. So this is a crime that affects anybody with a smartphone and anybody that could be talked into investing in cryptocurrency. I want to talk about where this is happening. This is Sihanoukville, Cambodia. It was farmland with water buffaloes growing on it, and I want to show you a bigger picture. And was a backpacker's beach haven until Chinese organized crime thought to themselves, you know what, we are going to set up camp down in Sihanoukville. Their idea was this. This was pre-COVID. Gambling is not allowed in China. Cryptocurrency is not allowed in China, but there is an appetite for it. So they thought, we are Chinese triads. We will build the new Macau in Sihanoukville, Cambodia. We will get China's Belt and Road Initiative to build that road. And that is exactly what happened. And we will encourage native Chinese to come gamble in Sihanoukville, Cambodia. So they built all of these buildings. They built the buildings that are right here, and they were meant to be hotel casinos. COVID hits and nobody is moving. And so they pivot and they think, okay, well, let's do something different. Let's do Sha Zhu Pan. That is their name, their term. It's translated to pig butchering. And the idea is we will set up sweatshops where we will have people luring victims to invest in cryptocurrency over an extended period of time. But to do that, you need a lot of human power. So not to worry, our scammers are, not only are they clever and they can build great websites that look like investment platforms, they can also build job ads and run them on Meta and encourage people to apply. What I found out on one of my recent trips is that a basic salary in Cambodia is $200 to $300 a month. So when you look at something like this, it looks super appealing, especially when unemployment is 20% in China during this time period. And so they are able to lure pretty sophisticated people, English speakers and computer skills, to come work there. They make this look like a very legitimate job. They do interviews and people think, wow, I'm gonna be able to help my family. So they receive their flight ticket to Bangkok. They arrive in Bangkok, their passport is taken, and they are moved into these facilities. And now these facilities look like, they look like this. Because now those casino towers, they've put walls around them. It is like a campus for this bad activity. They move people in and they cannot get out. This is a cement wall. This is called Chinatown, and the only way in and out is through a guard gate with guards with AK-47s. So you're not getting in or out. You are put into these buildings. You are 6 to a room, 8 to a room, and you are forced to do this work 18 hours a day. 16 hours a day. What would be the normal US wake period is now your job day. And no matter where you are located on the globe, you are going to be awake during the time that Americans are awake, and you are going to be texting with people 4 to 5 hours a day, individuals, and creating this bond. And if you don't, we will hit you with baseball bats, and we will make you hit your peers with baseball bats, and we will tase you, and we will make you watch while we tase other people. It is a hideous, violent environment where these people are forced to do this work, because really that is the only way to make people do work like this. People don't naturally want to lure people into fake relationships and steal their money. And so to make them do that, you really have to scare them and make it miserable for them. So let me go back here and show you. When I was a prosecutor, my office did not want me to travel to Cambodia. They thought that was unsafe for me. But as soon as I retired, that is the first place I went. And I drove 1,000 miles. The red dot is Phnom Penh. That is the capital of Cambodia. And Cambodia, the issue there is that there is embedded corruption. The two main economies in Cambodia are garments and tourism. And now this industry, and make no mistake, this is the industry of Cambodia, way surpasses that. It makes up more than half of the GDP. My tour took me to the Vietnam border. It took me to, I don't think you can see my mouse, but if you look at the bottom, there's Preah Sihanouk. That is what I just showed you with those towers. And next to that is Dar es Salaam Airport. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. So pay attention. On the other, is somebody meant, so thank you. And so then I went up and I went to the Thai borders. These are all happening in border locations. And I'm going to tell you about why this was so significant. So when I got there, one of the things that I noticed right off the bat was the grandiosity, that it's massive. Imagine a college campus now surrounded by a wall like this, and everybody inside is forced to scam Americans. That's their job. That's what I saw. It's jaw-dropping. It is incredible in the true sense of the word. Like, it is not credible. You cannot believe this is happening. You cannot believe that in 2025, those buildings are full of slaves that are forced to do this work. Another thing that really struck me was how in the open this is, and what I see when I look at this is the evolution of these scam factories. The building in the foreground, if you can see it, if it's clear to you, is a smaller scale building. It is a residential building, and it was one of the original buildings for this purpose. We are going to build large residential buildings, and we are going to force people to do this scamming inside these buildings. We're going to put bars over the windows, and we are going to not let them out and make them do this work. And that was 5 years ago. And then they realized nobody's coming. Nobody's coming from them. This is totally working. This is the best business in the history of business. And we are making exponential amount of money doing this. So let's build a building that looks like this. And look at the building in the back. Like, have you ever even seen anything that big in the United States? We don't build buildings like this. And what this is in the middle of nowhere. You see the foreground, this is farmland. You are driving through farmland, and then you come up on this crazy, massive building that has no other purpose but to house human trafficked victims to steal our money. And if you ask people, hey, what's going on in there? They'll say, oh, online. They do online in there. That's how whitewashed this has become. And Haley, I see your question in there about these recruiting schemes. What's happening with locals is some of them are at a point where they don't have a choice anymore. And especially with these tariffs where we're going to destroy their garment industry, they're going to need jobs. And we're doing this to ourselves in that, okay, so now they need jobs, and these are the jobs. And so they might be willing to go in there and do this work for a period of time, thinking they can get out, but they'll be able to make some decent money. It is massive and growing, and that's what I saw. Everywhere I went in Cambodia was roads being built, cranes everywhere, blueprints out there that this is an industry, and we are just going to keep building, and keep building. Yeah, Haley, I don't know the answer quite yet. Haley asked if there's a spike in activity following the tariffs. I don't know. I don't know how quickly we will see that. What I see and what is obvious to me is just crazy growth everywhere. Like, look at the size of those buildings. They're a long way out, and they're huge. Like, this is the amount of money going into this construction endeavor shows the craziness of how much money is in this business. It's just massive. Now, remember I showed you Dar es Salaam Airport. So the way that Chinese organized crime did some of this business is they showed up in Cambodia and said, we are Chinese businessmen. And what we want to do is we want to build a city of the future, and we're going to build it in Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam is, you saw that it's remote. It's not close to Phnom Penh. There's nothing there. And they said, okay, we're going to build the city of the future. So they built a hotel there. And that hotel now houses human trafficked victims that do this work. But that's about it. That's all that's out there. And they built this $3.5 billion airport that has not seen a single flight yet. It's a beautiful airport. I was there, I saw it. It's absolutely state of the art. It has I saw the schematics on it. I looked it up. The runway is long enough to handle military aircraft. So think of where that was. That was adjacent to Sihanoukville. They can handle military aircraft. It was built by the Chinese, and it is directly next to Sihanoukville, which it is the site of the Ream Naval Base. 5 years ago, American warships were docked at Ream Naval Base, and then China came in and said, we are going to make this better, and we are going to dig it deeper, and so we will now be helping you, Cambodia, with this naval base. And so it's done, it's complete, and now the Chinese warships are there. So we've got Chinese warships adjacent to an airport that can accommodate military aircraft. And they say it's not permanent. But then we see this. Oh, 2 more ships are going to be there. So we are kidding ourselves if we do not think that China is absolutely setting up camp in Cambodia. They are 100% using Cambodia as an opportunity to be on the South China Sea. And we should be wary of that. And we should consider this as the transnational, as the global threat that this is. All right, I got a lot more to tell you. This is Myanmar. So it's not just happening in Cambodia, it's happening in Myanmar. This is called KK Park. It is one of the first cities that was built for the sole purpose of scamming people. This is what they built. This is what Chinese organized crime built. And when I look at places like this, that's Myanmar on one side, then we've got the river, and Thailand on this side. And what is obvious to me from the very first time I saw this photograph 3 years ago is that is a cell tower in Thailand. And aren't we allies with Thailand? Shouldn't we get Thailand to turn off that cell service? Well, stay tuned. I want to show you why this keeps me up at night. If you look in this photograph, you can see the river. The river's obvious, and the river makes two like camel humps. And what you can see there is what this looked like in February 2020. Not much there. Then we've got 2 years later, this is what they've built. They've built an entire city in 2 years. And I know it's hard to understand the gravity and the size of it when you look down at it like this, but it's massive. It's like they built an entire college campus and a surrounding area in 2 years. It's completely out of hand. And this is what it looks like today. Now the second hump is there. I was there 2 months ago, and I was standing right across from that area that looks undeveloped, and it is now developed. And look at the land beyond. They have no reason to stop building. This is absolutely unimpeded. It's unbelievable, crazy, massive construction that we've never, ever seen in the world before. And when you think about how much money it would take to build this thing, it shows you how much money is involved in what is happening here. Now, remember I told you about that cell tower. So if the Thais had turned off cell service 3 years ago when we noticed it, we would have been in better shape. But in fact, they just turned it off in February of this year, but too late, because if you see what I see on the roofs of those buildings, and that red roof there, that's one of these red roof buildings. And what you see on there, if you know what this is, that is Starlink. So this is an American company that is now enabling the bad actors to have global communication to steal our money. So when I look for gaps that we can exploit to help ourselves, I feel like pressure on American companies that are enabling this is strongly warranted. And it would be one thing if KK Park was the only thing in Myanmar, but sadly it is not. This is just down the river from KK Park. And what struck me the first time I saw this is the cookie cutter images. I've been inside these buildings, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute, and there is nothing to them. They are the most basic construction you've ever seen, because we are just going to Control C, Control V. We are going to cut and paste, copy and paste what's there, and we are going to do it over and over. We're not going to take any real extra real estate. We're just going to keep building these places to house human trafficked workers to steal our money. And here's another one, same thing, just another example just down the river. What we are on the Thai side, so we're looking at the pastoral environment that should exist in this area, and on the other side, it is really difficult to take in that, oh my God, there are slaves in there. This is another one. I've barely gone into the amount of violence that's happening inside these places. So, but what I will tell you is it is war grade violence. It is horrible things that are happening to people in there, specifically women. And when I was there, we saw fireworks going off. This is a better picture. It's a very smoky area. The pictures are not great. And actually this isn't a good vision of it. But what I'll tell you is when I was there in November, they were celebrating the groundbreaking of the new location of this. And in the bottom, you can see I was there in March, just months later, and there's already a building there where we were. And you can see that this forested area up in the top has now been cleared out for more buildings to be built. This is Dubai, same program here. So what I'm here to tell you is, if you have heard me talk about this before, you've heard me talk about this is pig butchering and this is Southeast Asia. But what you need to know now is it's way more than pig butchering. It is any type of scam. It is every type of scam. And it is not just Southeast Asia, it's UAE, and it's Peru, and it's Africa, and it's Isle of Man. it is expanding, and it is expanding in places where we have little ability to physically shut down what is happening. I was just in the Philippines. This is a scam center, a scam complex in Metro Manila. It is just 5 blocks from the U.S. Embassy, and it is in the visibility. That's a giant Philippine government building that can directly see what is happening in that scam compound. These slides are for Apple. I'm presenting to Apple soon, and I am showing them that the method, the way that they are communicating is with all Apple products. That is how they are doing this. And so again, another gap, another American company that could contribute to a solution here. And there they are charging up all their Apple phones, and they're way ahead of us with what they're doing. So I want to tell you a little bit about Operation Shamrock and what I'm doing today. When I was a prosecutor, I continue to live by the concept of what if we could, because this is a grotesque situation we find ourselves in. It is way out of control, and things that we've done in the past are not good enough anymore. And we cannot just say, when a victim comes to us and says, hey, I had my $300,000 stolen from me, it is not okay to say, well, the bad guy is overseas and the money went overseas. My team thought, well, what if we could find that money and get it back? And we did. And so we were able to trace cryptocurrency. We did a search warrant to Binance. We got Binance to cooperate. We argued to the judge why this money should be returned to victims. And by the end of 2022, we were able to help 8 victims get $1.5 million back. But what we realized is that we were in a pretty small circle of local and state law enforcement that knew how to do this work. So during the year 2023, it was clear to me that we had an obligation to teach others how to do what we knew how to do. And in doing that, I built a coalition. I called it the Crypto Coalition. We started off with 85 members of local, state, federal, and international law enforcement that knew how to trace cryptocurrency and were willing to fight this fight. And today we have members from all 50 states, a bunch of different countries, and we have 2,300 active members of this coalition that communicate multiple times daily on a listserv. We do a lot of training, and we have taught each other how to do this work. But what I realized as we were building a law enforcement coalition that was becoming equipped to handle this, there were a lot of pieces of this puzzle that weren't getting looked at all. And what we needed to do in order to have a fighting chance against this was bring everyone together. We needed banking, telco, we needed law enforcement, we needed social media, we needed big government, State Department, we needed NGOs, and we needed victim services. And so together, I brought these stakeholders together. I called it Operation Shamrock. And our mission is to educate about what is happening. We need to educate law enforcement. We need to educate other people, like what I'm doing today. It used to be seize when it was easier to seize crypto back. We still seize crypto, but also now it's mobilize. Mobilize people like you to think of, what can I do? I am on notice that there's a major problem now. How can I look around my own shop and figure out how to do something a little bit better that will disrupt this? We want to make it more expensive, more time consuming, more difficult for these bad actors to do their work. And so in order to do that, we needed to get crypto tracing tools in the hands of law enforcement. And so I partnered with TRM Labs to get tools in the hands. I created a website that can be a one-stop shop for reporting scams and getting those reports in the hands of trained investigators who know how to do this work. I put together victim resources and opportunities to get involved. As part of this, we do a monthly banking forum. One of the things that we're most proud of is we do survivor stories on Fridays. And on Fridays, we meet with survivors of these scams to hear where the gaps are in law enforcement, in banking, and social media that could be done better to prevent this in the future. And what we do is we anonymize that information and we give it back in this monthly banking forum where we share, here's what's happening right now in banks. There are victims who are going around from bank branch to bank branch, taking out just under the minimum in cash and handing it off to couriers who are coming to their front yards to pick up this money. And you guys aren't figuring out that they're doing that. And so that's enabling them to get large amounts of cash. You should close that loop. It's just, that's one example of real-time information we're sharing. And we're sharing those stories. We are putting them on our website so that people understand, oh my gosh, what happened to Sandra is what happened to me, and they feel less alone. We are doing a letter writing campaign because I spoke to Congress, and when I spoke to Congress, congressional representatives were telling me, I don't think this is a problem in my jurisdiction. Oh, I know that it is. And so to make them aware of what's happening, we are doing a letter writing campaign so that victims are making their Congress people aware. And we are doing community events. We have a Train the Trainer where we are getting the word out, and we are teaching. We'll give you a deck of slides that will enable you to train your local community. Go to your library, go to your Rotary, and get this information out. This is how we make change. We're doing awareness all day, every day. We were involved in Scam Inc. It was a great podcast put together by The Economist, probably the best work that's been done on this in the media. We're talking to the Wall Street Journal. We're doing everything we can to get this story out. And I'm happy to say, oh my gosh, you guys, today is day one of my podcast. It dropped today, and it's called Stolen. And if you Google a Stolen Aaron West, wherever you get your podcast, you can hear this, and you're gonna love it. It's talking about these scams from like a regular person point of view. What is going on out there? I'm talking to victims. I'm talking to people in the fight. I'm talking about what can be done about this scamdemic. And we're out there trying to enact change. We are testifying in front of Congress about Bitcoin ATMs and why this is a horrible situation and why there is no good thing that comes from any Bitcoin ATM in your community. And we are testifying before Congress. We are an organization of action, and we are moving that ball just a little bit every single day. This is where I can be reached on LinkedIn. I talk about this all day, every day. There's always something new that's happening that I want to make you aware of. I'm all about awareness. And if you are law enforcement or banking and financial institutions, we want you in our forum. The Crypto Coalition, there is nothing like it in the world. It is the way to learn how to investigate cryptocurrency. And oh my gosh, there is a typo at Aaron at Operation Shamrock. It's clearly an operation. It's no operaton. So if you want to find me, that's how you find me. But if you are in banking and financial institutions, we meet once a month for an hour. And we will tell you everything we know and everything we found out in the last month that will help you keep your people more safe. So it was a real pleasure to be here today. I think we have a couple of minutes. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you have any, it would be my pleasure to be able to answer some questions.
Yeah, we do have questions. First, let me just say thank you so much, Aaron. This is such an important topic. And I think it's really important to know that, you as an individual took something that you were passionate about and you have made change and you have made progress. Like we're not a powerless bunch. Like we can mobilize and we can do this. And the next session as well has a very similar story. So
I'm so glad that you're getting a double dose.
A double dose of people who really care about what they do and care about the community, and just like a lot of hope here, because this is it's hard to look at financial crime day in and day out and not feel just jaded and that the world is a terrible place and it's never going to get better. There are people like all of our members who are here. There are people like Aaron. There are people like Paul Raphael on the next panel.
Oh, amazing it's Paul. Difference. Oh, it even better. Paul, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that's fantastic. So, you're in for a treat. Good.
So I'm so stoked that everybody joined us through this. Well, a couple of questions. We do have time. Remember to put those in the Q&A so I don't miss anything here. But can you? There's one question that's come through. can employees resign from these jobs? Are they
Oh,
contracted? How do they
no.
get out?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to tell you no. And actually, the woman I met in the Philippines, her sister was in the compound at KK Park, and her sister tricked this victim into coming to the compound so that she could get out. That's how bad it is. So the way you get out of these compounds is you pay a ransom. They make up a fictitious amount of money that they say it's cost them to bring you there, and you have to pay that. And it's always more money than you could imagine. But there are people on the outside that are paying ransoms for these people to get them out. So no, you cannot leave, and they've killed people trying to leave. It is you're in jail. You are confined.
It's terrible. Have you seen any progress on American companies responding to reports that their products are being used in these centers?
So what I will say is that it's very interesting who quickly comes to the table and wants to be helpful, and that's banking. Banking definitely wants to be part of the solution, wants to understand what's happening, and wants to do better. Who is not coming to the table is frequently those who have the largest part in it, and could really make a big difference if they wanted to stop bad actors from using their products.
That is it's quite unfortunate, but grateful to be on a call today with a bunch of bankers who are wanting to do better.
Always wanting to help. Yes, I love that. And what I will say about that is, I think this is where we changed the term. So yesterday I spoke at marketplace risk, which is places with a consumer market, Pinterest, Airbnb, eBay. And what I was telling them is, by the time that it gets to you bankers, I don't think that there's much you can do to stop the train. So what I think you have is a collective power to put the pressure on the companies that are putting you in this position. And the companies, if you need me to spell it out, that are putting you in this position are Meta, dating apps, Telco, Starlink. And they're all American companies. And that's where the collective needs to put pressure on the Goliath, because Goliath has no interest, it appears, in really being helpful in a collaborative way. They will tell you they are somewhat helpful behind the scenes, and maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But what they're not doing is stopping the deluge of victims that I'm hearing from on a daily basis.
And then the next, again, just echoing this next session, it's a really it's a twofer, these last two, because you'll hear a very similar message surrounding
exactly yes.
child exploitation as well on the internet, and how crypto is being used for that, and it's devastating. It's devastating.
It's devastating, and it has become the situation where it requires leadership to bring everybody together and say, we are going to collectively make it difficult for you. And that is, otherwise they have no incentive. And unless we start regulating social media, they have no incentive to be helpful.
So we're right on time here, and I want to make sure that everybody gets at least a little bit of a break between these sessions, because they can be quite heavy. But if you've probably heard me say this before, but there's one of my favorite quotes is, what is an ocean but a multitude of drops? And every drop in the ocean that we can make makes the ocean. So keep fighting the good fight. I'm so thankful that you're here. I'm so thankful that we have this community here at ACFCS and with our speakers as well. Aaron, it was a phenomenal presentation. Thank you for sharing all of this information and for being so willing to share everything with the community. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Really grateful.
Take care.